Guys, how are you? Good morning, good morning. This is Rich Green, the KC, the keyboard capitalist. And this morning I've had a couple of, really inspirational video posts from close friends of mine in business, and great conversations with a couple of the team as well. And off the back of that, what I want to do is I'm going to put together a little training video. Now, I've not really been doing much of this stuff of late, and I want to get back to doing what I'm good at. So I'm going to put together a little training video that's going to be it's going to be fun, it's going to be informative, it's going to lead to results, and ultimately what it's about is, well, if I were to tell you that there's a secret hidden language within what every one of us is saying. To be more accurate, there's 4 secret hidden languages, and each one of us speaks one of those. And the knock-on effect of that is that 75% of the people that most of us engage with may well be seeing what's being said and hearing what's being said, but they're not listening, not understanding your message. If I were to say something like that, would it make sense to watch that video? Because when I get back, I'm going to get back to the Batcave, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to break down the 4 different languages. I'm going to show you how you can use those different languages, not just in business, but in your home life, maybe in your relationships, maybe in your day job, perhaps with your kids, or just the people around you, and how you can make use of these secret hidden languages. Because let me put it to you this way, using a business analogy, you may well be the best in your game, the best at what you do, but if you're trying to present your business in English to somebody who's speaking Russian, how many people are you going to convert? We need to be speaking the same language as our prospects or our people who we're introducing the business to. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to speak the right language. And so come back to this video, grab a pen, grab a paper, get enthused, because there's going to be lots to learn. I'll see you in a second. Guys, welcome to the Batcave. And so what I'm going to do in this video is go over those 4 languages that I mentioned. In fact, to be more accurate, rather than languages, they're actually personality types. There's 4 different personality types, but each one of these personalities has a different way of being. It has a different kind of air about it. It has a different way of speaking, way of understanding, way of learning. So what I want to do is square off these 4 different personalities and make sure that by the end of this video you've got a really clear understanding on how you can utilize this knowledge and make things better for yourselves. So first of all, what are these types? Well, you can describe them in ways of being, in perhaps in keywords, but most well known is colours. It's easier for people to understand and hold imagery in the mind, so we use colours to describe these people. So grab your pen and paper and jot down the 4 different colour types. So you've got a red, green, blue and yellow personality types. Thinking about it, the reds and the blues amongst you who are sat there saying to yourself, I'll remember all this. Don't remember it. A short pencil is far better than a long memory. Go and get your pen and pencil. I know the little voice in your head is telling you that you don't need to. In fact, thinking about it, you probably sat there saying to yourself, I've not even got a voice in my head. Well, it's the little voice in your head that's just told you that. So blues and reds, go grab your pen and paper. Everybody else, let's crack on. So if we break this up, we can split it down 4 ways. So we'll break this chart up into 4 different segments. And so what we'll do is we'll talk through each one of these different personalities, each one of these language types, and we'll put them across in a way that you can relate to and hopefully remember. What I'll then do is I'll maybe use a couple of real life analogies to put across how you'd identify these different people, and then how you could either work with them or build relationships with them. So we'll talk about the red people first. So reds. Now, reds, out of all of the 4 personality types, are probably the ones who take their personality type more as a compliment than anybody else. So just to be really clear, there's no best personality. A red will differ, because that's what reds are. but there's no best personality. There's no best, there's no worst. This is not a league chart. There's just 4 types of different. So a red personality type, let's associate some positive traits with reds. So these are people like your business leaders, like your wealthy, people, your hard workers, perhaps your driven people, goal-orientated. In the circle that a lot of my guys are involved in, a great example of a red personality that you might be familiar with will probably be Frank Calabro Jr. Obvious red personality. Absolute rock star driven, focused, knows what he wants, going straight for it. So those are the kind of positive traits of red people. And if we were to think about how to put yourself across to a red in a way that will resonate with them. So let's say we're talking about a business opportunity, for example. How do you think you could speak to a red in a way that would get them to listen? Perhaps talk about money, perhaps talk about results, perhaps talk about prestige, you know, being the best, putting them on a pedestal, edify the reds. And so if we use one word to associate with red, I would call them money people. You might well find a different word that works for you to memorize, but I would say money people. Now let's move on to the next one. So we'll move on to the greens. Now I'm a natural green, and when I say natural, with these personality types, what you'll find is that everybody's got a natural state of being. Some people argue that comes from DNA, you know, it's genetic, it's family led. Others argue that it's from the very early stages of development. We spend 9 months in the mum's womb, and we can't smell, we can't taste, we can't see, all we can do is hear. You know, 9 months of hearing what's going on around us, that's got to have an impact on what we become. So you've got a natural state of being, or what's called a natural state of being, and then you've got learned behaviour. And the power of this, once you've got a clear understanding on it, is you're going to be able to unlearn your way of being and then learn other people's. Your ideal situation, if you're wanting to utilise this and be able to clearly speak to not just 25% of the people who are in your environment, but get your message across in a way that it's understood to 100% of people, is not to be red, green, blue or yellow, it's to be a chameleon. And that's not because you want to mislead people, it's because you want to be able to best communicate with them. Oh, that makes some sense. So green people, me, naturally a green. So your green people, these are the people who the reds like least, by the way. Your green people, these are detail guys. So details, spreadsheets, numbers. So we talked about the types of people when we were talking about reds, leaders, wealthy, hard workers. The types of people you tend to find greens are is accountants, librarians, that kind of environment, analysts. They want the details. They want to know the ins and outs of a duck's what's-it, and then why the duck's what's-it's called a duck what's-it. They want to know everything. So if we were to speak to a green person in a way, again, let's use the business example. So we're wanting to get them in front of our offer, maybe talk to them about our business opportunity. If we're talking to these guys and saying to them, oh, you could be the best in the business, you're going to be number one, you're going to make a fortune, you're going to be able to buy this, buy that, buy the other. Is that going to turn these guys on or switch them off? It's going to switch them off. What we want to do with these guys is really resonate with their analytical nature. These are the guys who you can go to and say, listen, I'm doing something new and I really value your opinion. I know you'll look in depth properly, and will you take a look at this for me? They'll appreciate that kind of language, that kind of approach. And there's lots of different approaches you can use. I'm only just throwing in basic examples here. So your green personality, if we were to use one word to help remember what those personality types are. We've got money for red. For green, we'd perhaps use details as the type of person that they are. So then what we've got is we've got our blue people. So blue and reds have a lot of similar traits. In many ways, they are very, very similar. They're not interested in any of this whatsoever. You'll see what's coming on the yellow, but that's less of an interest as well. If you were to talk about a blue person, then you'd be talking about the party animals. You know, the guys who are only interested in fun, who want to have a good time. They don't want to get tied down. They just want to have an absolute blast. As long as everybody's happy, they're happy. Just crack on and enjoy life, live for the moment, that kind of thing. So the word, let's just jump ahead a bit, I would probably associate with the word party. That's how I remember blue people. I've got quite a few friends who are blues. Great fun to be around. A nightmare to tie down to appointments. Regularly let you down because they are the most important person in their world. Not necessarily a bad thing, or certainly not to a blue. But yeah, so ego to a certain extent, although that plays a part in red. Fun, happy, smiley, positive, experiences. They're here for the ride, you know, here for a good time, not for a long time. That kind of mentality. So when you're talking to a blue and trying to get their interest in a business opportunity or to get them in front of your funnel, again, you don't necessarily want to be going down the money route. You don't want to be going down the sort of statistical route and showing lots of evidence. You know, these guys want to see proof that it's working. Share your testimonials with them. Show them your screenshots. That's why we asked you to log everything for the guys who we're in business with, that is. But with these guys, they're not interested in that. They want to know, how is it going to enhance their life? You know, you want to get these guys to involved in something. Show them how much fun it's going to be. Show them what fun they can have as a result of it. If it's in business, so talking to such as our online marketers and network marketing friends, these guys show you results so that they can see the results. These guys show the results so they can see the money. These guys show the results so they can see the lifestyle that it's going to provide them with. You know, if they've got an opportunity to backpack around Thailand, they'll do it. They'll buy a car. They'll hoard it. So then what we've got is our yellows. Amazing people. Everybody loves a yellow. These are the happiest, go-luckiest type people that you could possibly imagine. All they want to do is help. They just care for other people. And jumping forward again, that's the word that I associate with yellows. It's caring. And that's not to say that none of the others care. All of this is generalisation. Obviously, there's grey areas on all of this. Some people will have a myriad of all. Some will be really strongly one or the other. But your yellow people, they're your carers. They love to nurture other people, to help. You know, they'll look after their neighbours. They'll spend time with the old people. They'll bake. They'll do all of this good stuff just so that they can feel good about the world that they're living in. Look after the environment. And they're just lovely, lovely people to be around. I spoke at the start of this video about speaking in English versus speaking in Russian. You go to one of these people and all they want to do is live in a happy world where everybody loves each other and they want to bake cakes for the next door neighbour. And you tear in there telling them, we're going to make you so much money and you're going to do this and you're going to be able to have that car and that house and blah, blah, blah. Are they going to go in or are they going to run a mile? They're going to run a mile. So the languages are completely different. And once you recognise what people are in terms of their personality type, it really helps. And taking this away from business a minute, think about the people in your relationship life, in your home life, you know, your partners, your family, your kids, and think about how they are, what their interests are, what their sort of behaviour patterns are, and you'll start to see how these personality types fit in with them. And as a result, you can maybe adjust how it is that you're interacting with them. So I want to give a real life example of what can happen with these different types of people. So you're absolutely boxed off and got it crystal clear. So let's say, for talking's sake, that there's a market trading business selling, I don't know, selling shoes. And so you've got a market stall, you're just setting up a market stall business, and you've stocked up and you've got all your shoes. So different personality types now that deal with that. The red is going to be up like a shot in the morning, going to have everything good to go and go there, and is not going to come home until every single pair of shoes is sold. Now, if it's at a Sunday market, that means he's going to miss Sunday lunch with the family. That means he's going to let the missus down, going to let the kids down. And I know I'm saying he, not all reds are he's. This is not a gender thing, really. The personality types reflect on both males and females. But he, she is not going to stop until the job is done. So it's great that there's all of these positive words that we've used, this positive reinforcement. But what's the weaknesses of a red? It's win at all costs. So relationships suffer. They, again, ego plays a big part. So because they want to win, they'll maybe tread over other people in order to get there. Once again, I'm generalising, but you can see the sort of traits within these people. So if you recognise that you're a red, then what you're also able to do is you're able to recognise your development areas. Because with Best Will Inc. World, no matter how good we are as individuals, we've all got development areas. And although perhaps reds and blues may not want to admit that, that's just the reality of things. So greens, what's the sort of weak points on greens? So same market stall. The green has been preparing all week, has done all the business plans, has all the spreadsheets ready, the projections. They've perhaps observed the market for a few weeks before, watching the market trends, footfall, how many people are they expecting past. So they'll get there really, really early, make sure that they're first in. But even though they're the first in all likelihood even, in all likelihood, they're probably going to spend so long perfecting the stall setup before they let anybody touch it, before they let anybody near any of the shoes. They'll perfect the look of the stall because they've researched merchandising and how to get the most effective sales volume. And by the time they've perfected that, half of the day's trading is going to have gone. They're not going to stay till the death. They're going to stay till the time that it says it's supposed to close. They follow the rules. And by the time they get home, they're probably going to be very disappointed with the sales figures because they've not actually taken action. They've prepared, they've analysed, but they've not done what's necessary. So they're then going to spend the next week or so readjusting the figures, reprojecting. And so all of these great things about a green personality, you know, they're diligent. They make sure they're making the right call. But making the right call at what cost? You could argue that us greens are procrastinators in terms of genuine action. Do we know we're procrastinators? Do we recognise it? No, because we're working our backsides off doing all the groundwork. But groundwork's not what makes money. This is what makes money. Groundwork doesn't. So as a development area for a green, it's about looking at income generating activity. So stepping away from preparation and getting real with it. So over analysis would be another sort of development area. So then if we move on to the blue personality, so the blue's got the market stall. The blue is not going to have prepared in the slightest. Going to be throwing everything in the back of the car last minute. Probably get to the market late. Make a huge noise when they arrive. Everybody's going to know that the blue's there because they're a right laugh. And they're going to have an absolute blast. The crowd will love them, the customers will love them, the neighbours on the opposite stalls will love them, and they'll have such a great time just bantering and bouncing off of people. They're not going to be focusing or interested on what change they're giving people, how much money they're taking. Come the end of the day, they're going to have had an absolute riot. But what's going to be their development area? In all likelihood, in this example, they're probably going to have shortchanged people, given too much change to people, not paying any attention to the reality of the business, and just having a good time. So their development areas really is working more on the details, perhaps focusing on the task in hand, focus on tasks and that kind of thing. So again, you can probably, as we're talking through this, you can picture the people in your own circles who fit these kind of things, and it's probably going to be making real sense to you. So then we've got the wonderful yellers, the lovely, lovely yellers. So they're going to be up bright and early also. You know, there's a lot of synchronicity between the opposites. And so these guys, the yellers, are going to be up bright and early because they just want to help. They don't want to cause anybody any problems. So they're going to get there and they're going to have, again, such a lovely time. They're going to love the neighbours, and they're going to see people walking about in shoes that don't look like they're comfortable, and they're going to give discounts, maybe even give shoes away. They're going to treat everybody like they're almost a charity case, but not in a horrible way, you know, in a really nice, friendly, giving way. And come the end of the market day, in all likelihood, they're going to have lost a fortune because they're going to have given more than they've taken. To the extent that once everything's packed away, they're probably going to go and buy teas and coffees and bacon butties for the people on the next stalls, and not just go home with less money than they expected to make, but go home with less money than they came with. Lovely, lovely people, but sometimes too giving, whether that be in money or in time. And sometimes you've just got to make a bit of a sacrifice and find that balance. So when I started at the beginning of this, I was talking about finding that balance between all of them. It's not an easy thing to do, and it can take a lot of time and a lot of practice. But hopefully, off the back of that, you're going to be more aware of the people around you. And I would set yourself a challenge over the course of the next couple of days, maybe this weekend, maybe the next week. Just make a conscious effort and make a note, unless you're Reds or Blues, obviously. Make a note of the people who are in your life and what you think they are. And just try and adapt a little bit how you interact with the people and see what a difference it makes to you. Okay, so just going back a step, because there is something quite important that I missed, so just jumping in with a little bit of an edit here. So off the back of all of this, one of the reasons it's so important is that the mind works in it. There's a two-part process. You've got your conscious mind, which is what most people think makes the decisions, and then the subconscious mind, which is what really makes all the decisions. You know, that your subconscious mind's running everything. You think about the last time you told your heart to beat, told yourself to sweat. You know, I could tell myself to pick up that pen, but by the time I've picked it up, I've done it way faster than I can tell myself to do it. Your subconscious mind works at such a fast rate, and it's the thing that controls everything. And that's why this is so important. So I just want to highlight something really quickly that I forgot about. So the key words that we touched on, if you've got someone who has a natural personality type, key words that resonate with their natural personality speak to the subconscious part of their mind. So you could take the same sentence, you could take a sentence, I don't know, let's say for talking sake, you're wanting someone to come to the shop with you. If you're wanting a Red to go to the shops with you, you need to use a key word that's going to resonate with Red. And that key word would be something like money or something like win. You know, come to the shop with me and there's a sale on, and you're going to be able to buy twice as many items as you normally would do. You're going to be able to get a $1,000 TV for $500. Come to the shop with me and I'll give you $20 for coming. You know, you're using monetary words or incentives for that person. With green people, your key word is details, or perhaps check. You know, will you come with me to check I don't miss anything? Will you come with me and just manage the list and make sure I've got all the details right? It's language that will resonate with their subconscious mind. the blue person, you're wanting them to come to the shop because you're going to have a great time, because you're going to go for a coffee and you're going to meet up with friends, and again your keyword, I would say, is not actually party, to be fair. I would say your keyword for those guys is fun, or perhaps even laugh. Now, use those sort of words in a sentence. Again, picking any sentence, and like I said, use the sort of challenge of this week when you're speaking with your circle. Replace these words with what you'd normally use and see where it gets you. Your yellow people, the keyword there has to be help. You know, will you come and help me? Will you help me with this? Can you help me with that? You use that word when you're talking to yellows and see how far you get. And as I say, none of this is with a view to manipulating or with a view to getting around people. This is to help them help yourself, and vice versa. So that's it. That's everything from me. I hope this has been of some use. And so please subscribe to the channel, watch my other videos. There's going to be a lot more value added to this channel over the coming weeks. I've been Rich Green, and I'm putting daily life-changing income back at your fingertips. Thanks, guys.